So I should be streaming. Yes, I am. Alright, perfect. Let's get the aircraft set up for a takeoff to Bodo. Up here from Haugstad Narvik Airport. So let's start with the flight plan. And our arrival is going to be Echo November Bravo Oscar. And this is the Toliss format for the... well, it's not in the database. Alright. November. There we go. Oh, no, it is in the database. Alright, whatever. That's, Alright. What's our flight number gonna be? Cost index will be 18. And our cruising altitude is gonna be 14,000 feet. Alright, that's already done. Let's see what we're going to be carrying today. Okay, we are basically a private jet here, so let's carry 30 people. And the cargo can stay like that at 30%. That's fine. 50.6 tons. And 30%. And what's our fuel load going to be? 3.9 tons. Apply that. So we're going to be carrying 50.6 tons over a 30% CG. Block fuel is going to be 3.9 tons today. Let's get a departure in there. Departing from runway 17 on the Get to 1 Echo departure. Go to 1 Echo. No transition. Insert that. And our arrival. That's going to be an interesting one because we have a very little visibility in Bodo today. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we're going to come up with, or what we're going to come up against actually on the approach into Bodo today. We're going to be on the ILS for runway 25. We're going to need the ILS today because the ceiling that I saw here real quick was 285 feet, which I believe is around the altitude of the airport. Standard arrival is going to be get to 7 Delta. There it is. And I don't think we have any VS. No, we do not. And no transition either, and let's insert that. 99 nautical miles. And we have a perfectly good flight plan here. Let's go to our performance page. So with flaps 1 departure, we're going to have a V1 speed of 129 knots, 129 at a rotation speed as well. And our V2 or climb out at 1 engine speed is going to be 132, yes. Transition altitude 7,000 feet, it's probably from mountains as well. 30.3 is going to be our CG for takeoff. Okay, so we're going to be flaps 1, and we're going to need some trim for that of 0.2 degrees up. Takeoff shift, we're just going to use the entire runway, so right now that's not applicable. 73 degrees of temp or a flex. Basically fooling the engine into performing as if as if it were 73 degrees Celsius outside, or Fahrenheit outside. Which, well, this is Norway right now, so I doubt that. We can see that actually. 7 degrees Celsius, and in Fahrenheit that's, I don't know. I may sound American, but I definitely am not. Alright, so we're done with that page. Let's get the external power off and the chocks off of the wheels. And that kind of makes us ready to get the engine started. So, APU is on, stay off, there we go. Let's get the beacon light on. That'll close the doors as well. Get our initial altitude set at 7,000 for the transition. And let's wait until the doors are closed, because that's kind of nice actually of us. Let's wait for that last door. Get it to close. There it is. Perfect. Beacon light's already on. Pack flow can stay there. Let's get the ignition selector to start, and you'll hear the air conditioning pack switch over to the closed mode or to the engines. Get that out of the way. And let's start number 2. See if the sound works this time. We have one good engine, almost. When it shows available, as soon as it shows available, we're gonna fire up the number 1. There we go. that's running up. Taxiing around here, and I believe to that side of the runway, but we can see that on the nav display as well. Set the flaps for departure. There we go, and let's set the trim for departure too. 0.2 degrees up. There we go, 0.2 on the screen there. Let's do a quick flight control check. And it all appears to be working. That's great. Give it some power. Yes, it does sound horrible. The fact that it sounds horrible is pretty accurate. I've been on the a320neo with the Pratt & Whitney PW1000 engines, and it's yeah, it's a sound. I personally enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't, which I cannot blame them for, because, well, it's kind of the nails on a chalkboard vibe, you know? Let's get some wipers going here. Exit light on. So, for the weather at our arrival airport, I just checked it out again. There's few clouds at 300 feet. Or is it? No, there's few clouds at 30 feet, actually, above the ground. So that's not a lot. Winds are 300 degrees at 4 knots, which is not too bad. It's pretty good, actually. But the temperature is 7 degrees, and the dew point is also 7 degrees, so it will be foggy. QNH is 1008, broken clouds at 1300 feet and at 2000 feet. So, we're gonna have a lot of fun flying in there. You might want to expect to go around, or 2 actually, even. And delay takeoff. Thought that engines are still too cold, so we're gonna have to delay the takeoff. At least for now. Let's see, our current QNH is 1007. Let's get that set as well. We have 7,000 feet set on the MCP mode control panel. Once we're in the air, we'll change that. We'll go up to 14,000 feet. We're gonna be almost immediately into the clouds once we're off the ground. So that'll be a fun sight as well. I'm not going to be able to see a lot of Norway today. Strobe lights on. Landing lights on. Let's clean ourselves up. That one off. Alright. Before takeoff checklist. TCAS. Let's get that to TARA and on. Engine mode selectors as required is normal. Brake temperature is under 150 definitely. Brake fans are off. Sliding table stowed. Takeoff clearance is obtained because there's nobody else. And the external lights are on. The only thing we're waiting on right now is for the temperature of the oil on engine number 1 to come up to 55 degrees Celsius. And we can activate the weather radar in the meantime. And there's supposed to be a lot of clear air turbulence around here. Alright, we're good to go. So we're going to activate the turbulence on the radar as well, and the terrain on the nav display. So we can see where we can and can't fly. Alright, 40% on 1. Release the brakes. Takeoff thrust set. Let's keep it centered. 80 knots, stick coming back neutral. 120 knots cross check. V1 rotate. And positive rate, landing gear up. And you see the green lines here? That's the flight director, which is what we're following to be on the right path. And let's get the thrust levers back so we can drop the nose down a bit. The green S on our airspeed scale, we're going to retract the flaps. That's now. And now the aircraft is in what we call a clean configuration for flight. We'll be following the green line. As good as we possibly can. Our auto throttle is connected as well, which means that the thrust setting of the aircraft is regulated automatically right now. And we're climbing up to 7,000 feet. Normally we'd ask air traffic control for the next altitude, but we can go ahead and set 14,000 feet, or our cruising altitude soon. Last turn. So yeah, that's our altitude warning. We're going up to 14,000 feet. And we've passed 7,000 feet, or our transition altitude, which means we can now start using standard barometric pressure of 1013.25 hectopascals. which is the standard pressure that you use in aviation above a certain altitude, or the transition altitude, 7,000 feet in this case, so that you roll at the same altitude, at the same level, regardless of air pressure. Okay, passing 10,000 feet, and let's get the landing lights off. Wing lights can come off too. Strobe lights can go to auto. To be honest, I have not looked at our airtime. It's going to be 26 minutes. What now? Okay, anti-ice. Get the autopilot on. That's what it's there for. If you have anything that you could use help with during a flight, the autopilot's very helpful to just relieve some of the pressure on the pilots. Right now we got a notification about the anti-ice system, that we should use the anti-ice system. So I turned on the anti-ice system, and I could use the autopilot to alleviate some of the pressure on me or on the flight crew. So it's a good thing we have an autopilot. Look how dark it is. Welcome in Norway. See if I can get rid of some of the glare on the windscreen. Floodlight should help with that. Instrument lights can remain on. No, I don't think I can get rid of the glare. Already wants me to enter the destination data. QNH 1017, I believe. 1007. Temperature is going to be 7 degrees. Wind's going to be, let me see, variable 2 knots. Never mind. There we go. 7 degrees, wind's going to be 300 at 4. Transition flight level is going to be 500 feet, or 5,000 feet. Approach speed 124. So let's enter that in there. So I'm a little conflicted here, because yeah, no, let's do 150 on the radio altitude for go around altitude. We can do that. Yeah. Set the altitude to our next constraint in the line, or a last constraint before we take over manual control of the aircraft. Let's do 3,000 feet. It sounds kind of arbitrary how I do that. Go low, because braking action is very poor, so we're gonna do medium. See, I don't have a braking action report here, do I? No, I don't. Alright, well, so be it. we're approaching our equal time point, and with that we're going to be approaching our top of descent. Equal time point is, well, pretty self-explanatory actually. It's the point where you are equally far from the origin as from the destination in time. So I guess it's going to be like 60 miles. Yeah, around. Let's give it 50, 55 miles. It always takes longer to descend than to climb out. So it's always a little closer to the origin airport than to the arrival airport, most of the time. Especially from higher altitude. Now we're from only 14,000 feet, so. Let's see what we look like. Cold. We look very cold. Very cold. Let's see the temp. Yeah, minus 14. That's cold. So we're going to be descending a little less than 10 miles. Once we're around 3 miles away, we're gonna initiate the altitude. We're gonna initiate at 3,000 feet. Here, 51 miles, and we are almost at the equal time point. Around 3 miles away. Let's initiate the altitude. And with that, we're gonna get the terrain on here as well. Alright, so I like this remark right here. Ice not detected. That's a lovely, lovely remark. So we can turn off the engine anti-ice, we'll keep the wing anti-ice for a bit. But that will give us a little more thrust for a possible go-around. Which, well, I'm not counting on, but I am preparing for. So approaching 10,000 feet, it's going to slow us down to the international maximum of 250 knots. And yes, there is a speed limit under 10,000 feet. Now you know it's 250 knots in airspeed. At 10,000 feet, we want to make sure our seatbelt signs are on. They are. External lights still off. Pressurization is still good, as we can see there. Cabin up to 2,500 feet, which is very cozy. So we're coming up on the first of our constraints, flight level 80, which is our maximum altitude for that particular point. If we fly any lower than that, we have the chance of hitting terrain, which obviously we don't want, especially here. If you're wondering why I'm not really looking outside, there's very little to look at. Very little. Also, to me, this is a lot more interesting. So your first constraint is coming up, 8,000 feet, and our second one, or just got deleted because we passed the waypoint. Our second one is 5,600 feet. We're gonna hit that. Ice not detected, perfect, so we can really turn that off now. That's all good. We're gonna see how our braking action is. I am very interested in how good we are gonna be at stopping on the runway here. I don't know if it snowed here. It does not say, it doesn't give me a runway condition, which is a little, you know. Let's just hope it didn't. See, that's really something you want your pilot to say. Let's hope it didn't snow, so maybe we won't slide off the runway, but there's a chance, you know. "24 miles. 22. Let's get the aircraft set up. On the spoilers. Weather radar's good. Lights are off. The inside at least. There's no storm, so that can stay off too. Standby compass, come on, can come on. There it is. Isn't that cool? Love that feature. Anyways.
2,500.
That's terrain, so that's a false alarm in that sense. That's why there's a constraint at 5,600 feet here, because otherwise you would hit that mountain. And mountains and airplanes do not mix that well. We're already decelerating here for our landing. Let's get back to 10. At the green dot, we can extend our flaps to the first setting. So we got flaps 1. starting to notice that we do really want to land. So it wants us at 130 knots right now already. Here, there we go. 1008. That's what it's supposed to be now. It wants us at 129 right now. So I've had some difficulty in the past with really seeing where the runway is. Or really imagining how far it is.
2,500.
We're 2,500 feet, but we're above terrain. $2,000. Be leveling off at 3,000 once again here. So hey, I see things. Oh my god, wow! Look, it's things. This is why automation is so nice. Because if it wasn't there, we would have been in one of these mountains. And like I said before, I will reiterate: plains and mountains do not mix. We're going to be flying into a fog bank here. First leveling off at 3,000 feet. It's going to allow us to descend a little further at the next waypoint. Flaps are 1 right now. Let's get flaps 2, and once flaps 2 is extended, we're on basically an 8-mile final now. Alright, once we have flaps 2 there it is, we can throw down the landing gear. Straight into the fog bank.
$2,500.
2,500 feet now for real, because we're over the water. Gears down so we can get flaps 3.
$2,000.
Let's get our go around altitude of 7,000 feet set in here. And as you can see on the scale here, we are still descending into the fog. Let's get full flaps. We're 5 miles out. Hold the lights on. Can stay at auto actually. It's fine. And once we do have a visual confirmation of the runway, there it is. Then we switch off the autopilot because we cannot automatically land this thing here. Since the runway is what we call like offset from the localizer, so the instrument that should make us land here. We can't do an auto land here.
1,000.
1,000 feet, stabilized, and emits missed approach altitude is set. Ooh. Little bit gusty.
$500.
It's actually a really nice approach.
400.
Didn't know that. Yeah, I know I'm deviating from the
300.
localizer, but the runway is also deviating from the localizer. So we're gonna be turning right onto it.
100 above. 200.
Let's get some rudder in there. And I see some icing on the runway. It's a
100.
good thing that we put the auto brakes on the medium setting.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard. 10. 5.
Ooh. Well, that was a landing. It wasn't a soft one, but it was a landing. Let's turn ourselves off of the runway to the... Yes, yeah, I know. Unstable approach, blah de blah. Let's turn ourselves off here to the right. There we go. And let's taxi ourselves. Over right next to the rightmost of the MD-80s on the ramp. Let's park ourselves in front of that. Let's get her in here. See, there's a tow bar for us already. Let's say right about there. Parking brake on. Number 2 off. Number 1 off. Beacon light off. That's off. Seatbelt sign off. And let's see how we did. Parking wise. Oh, I could have gone a little further forward. Considering the gate's already there, I'd say we did fine. Was my beacon light not off? There it is. Now it is. It's complaining about hot brakes. Why is it complaining about hot brakes? Oh, it should be complaining about hot brakes. Let's get the anti-skid off for that. I know, we are at the gate. Alright, well, thus concludes the second flight of the day. That can come off as well. Let's see if we have any issues with the aircraft. No, it's all normal. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot of fun, especially in the low visibility. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. It's still hot. There we go. Turn that off. I get distracted easily, as you can see. Anyways, well, thank you all for watching very much.